Hello, and you're very welcome to the Shed Sessions here in Drumshanbo in County Leitrim. I'm Charlie McGettigan. I suppose you're wondering what the Shed Sessions are. Well, a couple of weeks ago, Caroline McCartan from the Leitrim County Library in Ballinamore gave me a call and said, would I like to help them out with the Keep Well campaign they were running from the library? And I said, what do you want me to do? Well, she said, I'd like you to do 6 concerts of songs and stories or whatever you feel appropriate. And I said, well, I'd have to do those properly. I'm not doing those on my iPhone or anything. So she agreed to let me have my own choice of producer, and I chose the great Logan. Now, of course, when I mentioned it to Leo, I thought we'd be doing it up in his studio, but it turns out Leo is much more inventive. He said, let's be a bit more imaginative. And he said, let's try somewhere new. And I said, where would you think of? He said, what about the Shed Distillery? So we got on to the Shed Distillery, and they very kindly gave us their lovely location here to do our 6 concerts from. So thanks to them, and thanks to the Leitrim County Library for having us. Let's get on with the music. I worked all night and I worked all day, ran out in the rain, threw it up and then I took it down again. Thought about what I had to say, struggled just to make it plain, yes. Shook it up and then I shook it down again. I hope you like it, it's the best that I can do, and I hope you like it. You know I made it just for you, and I hope you like it. Oh, won't you listen to it and give it just a little of your ear. I'm gonna sing some songs and play some tunes. I'm gonna show you where I've been, take you up, I hope I'll take you down again. Maybe play 'em some other way, I hope they don't sound the same. Shook 'em up and then I shook 'em down again. I hope you like it, it's the best that I can do, and I hope you like it. You know I made it just for you, and I hope you like it. Won't you listen to it and give it just a little of your ear. Oh, won't you give it just a little of your ear. You know, way back in the 1960s, the early 60s, when we first heard Bob Dylan sing, well, people said, that's not singing. He just seemed to be howling at the moon. And then suddenly people like Joan Baez and all kinds of different singers began to sing his songs, and we realized these are great songs. And now, when I listen to Bob Dylan, I realize he's a great singer as well. Here's one of his songs, and if you feel like joining in, please do, but be careful where you do join in, because you could be sitting on the bus or on the train and suddenly you'll burst into song and frighten the life out of the person next to you. So just take it easy. Here it goes. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many roads must a man walk down before they call him a man? And how many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? And how many years can those cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? Quietly now. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. And how many years can a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? And how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? And how many years can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Well, that song suddenly became, way back in the 1960s, an anthem for the band The Bomb and for anti-war and anything to do with violence. And Bob didn't really write it with that intention, but it's hard to believe that after all these years that we're still killing one another in different parts of the world. So this next song is a song I wrote as a kind of an answer to Bob's song. And it goes like this. These words are falling, they're falling on deaf ears. The tales they're telling, they've been telling them for years. How many times must they be told before they'll hear? But these words are falling on deaf ears. They talk of peace, they talk of love, they talk of people who just haven't got enough. And after all is said and done, it still goes on and on and on and on, because these words are falling on deaf ears. The tales they're telling, they've been telling them for years. How many times must they be told before they'll hear? But these words are falling on deaf ears. We listen but we don't hear. There's more to this than just shedding a tear. We cannot just stand idly by. We can't just walk away while other people cry. We must stand up and face the gun. But it still goes on and on and on and on, because these words are falling, they're falling on deaf ears. The tales they're telling, they've been telling them for years. How many times must they be told before they'll hear? That these words are falling on deaf ears. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Great song altogether, and I see even Anne-Marie, who's very young and very quiet, but she was even bobbing along to that song, so that's a good sign. Who's Anne-Marie? She's looking after the cameras over there. Well, one of the great accolades for Irish songwriters is when somebody like Daniel O'Donnell comes along and sings their song, you know. As well as that, it puts a nice sheen on the bank balance as well. But Brendan Graham and myself wrote this next song, and we sent it off to Daniel. Daniel's a lovely fella. He always rings back, and about a week later he rang back. He says, "Hello, Charlie. It's Danny here. How you getting on? I love the song. It's a really lovely song, but I won't be able to sing it. There's too many words in it." And that was just the title of the song. It goes like this. It's gonna be a cold and a lonely winter, 'cause all summer long I got no heat from you. And if your love goes down to 0 by September, by the time the leaves are brown, I'll be blue. This love that seemed to blossom in the summer, like the flowers and the trees were strong and new. But flowers always die in the winter, and by the time the leaves are brown, I'll be blue. Well, I tried so hard to keep that spark a-burning, to kindle up the love that we once knew. But I know the love we had won't be returning, and by the time the leaves are brown, I'll be blue. I tried so hard to keep that spark a-burning, to kindle up the flame that we once knew. But I know the love we had won't be returning, and by the time the leaves are brown, I'll be blue. I thought that we might make it to December. Maybe Christmas time would help to pull us through. But I know that we won't even make November, and by the time the leaves are brown, I'll be blue. And by the time the leaves are brown, I'll be blue. And by the time the leaves are brown, I'll be blue. Well, as you can see, I'm getting very ancient now. I just turned 70 before Christmas. So that when I was growing up and 5 or 6 years of age, I never thought I'd be 70. 70 seemed really ancient. But consequently, I grew up in the 1950s. And we had no television then. There was, funny talking about no television, I was talking to my little granddaughter one day, and she was trying to find the children's channel on the television. And I said, Olivia, I said, do you realise when I was your age, we didn't have any television? And she just looked at me and she said, could you not have looked at it on your phone? And it's typical logic that a child will have. But way back in the 1950s, we just had radio. And one of the songs that was very popular, I think it would have been around 1955 or 56, was this next song. And it was a murder ballad. It was all about a fella who's stuck in a jail, and he knows the next morning they're going to hang him by the neck until he's dead. And he had the courage to write this song. Well, somebody else probably wrote it. But I certainly, if I was going to be hung the next day, I wouldn't be singing this one. But we used to sing this song. It was regularly on the radio by a band called the Kingston Trio. And we used to sing this like it was the most happiest song in the world. Everybody sang it. You know, it was like in those days, the songs were hits. There was just one song that was constantly played on the radio. Anyway, here it goes like this. If you want to join in, but as I said, be careful. People might look at you strange if you suddenly burst into song and you're walking along the beach or something like that. But anyway, it goes it. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're gonna die. I met her on a mountain, and there I took her life. I met her on a mountain, and I killed her with my knife. So hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're gonna die. This time tomorrow, I reckon where I'll be. If it hadn't have been for Grayson, I'd have been in Tennessee. So hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're gonna die. This time tomorrow, I know where I'm gonna be. Down in some lonesome valley, I'll be hanging from a white oak tree. So hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're gonna die. I said, poor boy, you're gonna die. I said, poor boy, you're gonna die. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Most popular song around 55, 56. That's 1955, 1956, not 1855. I know you probably think that that's what it is when I'm singing it to you. But there were some great songs around that time. And it's a real murder ballad. This next song, I suppose it's almost a murder ballad. It's about one of the great tragedies that can happen to anybody's house or anybody's house. Most households have had this experience of this happening to them. I hate to bring down the fun of the show, but this song is about the great problem of visitors. You know, people who come to your house and never know when to feck off home. You know, those kind of people. They always seem to come just as Coronation Street is starting, you know, and the bell rings. We don't even answer the door anymore when Coronation Street is on. But just imagine, this song came about when a fellow that I used to go to school with, I was down in the local supermarket one day, and it turns out he was a commercial traveller. I nearly said commercial traveller for pretty poly tights. At least that's what he told the wife when she found them in the back of the car. But I sort of said to him, we had a good old chat, and we were talking about the crack. And I said to him, look, the next time you're coming through Drumshanbo, call in and stay the night. We'll have a great old time talking. We'll go for a few pints and have a great old time talking about, Jesus, was I ever sorry? He did. And this is how it all turned out. There's a chorus again to this one. It goes, hey, when you gonna go away? It was really nice to have you stay. But when you gonna go away? When you told me that you were coming, I said, why don't you stay with me? But I didn't know that you'd want to stay a month or two with your wife and your family, and your dog whose hair is falling, and your cat who likes to pee, and your daughter and your son who were never off the phone and taking over my TV altogether. Hey, when you gonna go away? It was really nice to have you stay. But when you gonna go away? Well, the fridge is always empty, the bathroom's always engaged. There are dirty socks and shoes in among the empty booze bottles scattered all around the place. There's jam on the television, and there's ketchup in the video. There are dirty fingerprints on the doors and on the windows, and nappies full of I don't know. Let's hear you. Hey, when you gonna go away? It was really nice to have you stay. But when you gonna go away? Just in case there are any Americans tuning in, and they could be, because I've got fans in America. In America, they don't have nappies. They have what? Diapers, that's right. Down in Drumshanbo, we don't have yuppies. We have nappies, you know, full of you know yourself. Well, I don't wish to be offensive, but I feel that I've got to say that you're dirty and you're rude and your conversation's crude. I just could not stand another day. So would you take your wife and offspring and all of their toys and goo, put them in your rusty car and take them all as far away as you can too? Hey, when you gonna go away? It was really nice to have you stay. But when you gonna go away? Hey, when you gonna go away? It was really nice to have you stay. But when you gonna go away? Yes, we all have visitors. I suppose the worst visitors are people like your mother-in-law. I remember our mother-in-law came for Christmas one time, and she was still there on Patrick's Day. And you know that you don't like to say, are you going to go home soon? But somebody said the definition of mixed emotions is watching your mother-in-law drive over a cliff in your brand new car. Now, if you think about it, you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning now, that'll occur to you, and you start laughing in the bed, and your wife will be wondering, what are you laughing at? I was taking a look at my set here, and isn't it nice here in the Shed Distillery? And hopefully, in other concerts, we're going to be doing more concerts. We're going to be doing 6 in all. This is the first of 6, and hopefully we'll get a little sneak preview of the distillery during other concerts that we're doing. In the meantime, I'm going to go back now about 40 years. Maybe 35 years. And here in Drumshanbo, a whole bunch of us got together. We wanted to buy the Mayflower Community Centre. It was a dance hall at the time. And we figured if we bought it, we could run dances in it and then make enough money to turn it into a community centre. So the great Tony McGowan, the most optimistic man in Leitrim, in the world, he got this idea, why don't we go on a tour of England? There's a lot of talent around the place. There's people like Christy Moore from Cashel, and there's lots and lots of set dancers and singers and dancers, all kinds of stuff, musicianers. We had a great time. And so we headed off. And the very first night we were in England, we arrived at a place called the St. Brendan's Irish Centre in Manchester. And we were sitting on a dark, wet November night. And there was this fella standing over on the corner. And eventually he came over to us to talk to us on the bus, and he told us he was looking to see Father John Ahern, who incidentally was our local doctor, Joan Ahern. He was her brother, and he had arranged his first gig. I won't tell you any more because the song tells the story, and it's called A Bed for the Night. He was standing on the corner as the sun was going down. He was looking for a contact. He had just arrived in town with his suitcase full of emptiness, his clothes outworn and tight, and he was looking for a bed for the night. And he had a list of numbers that had slipped out of his head. An uncle living somewhere out in Manchester, he said. And he had come out of a country where the tunnels had no lights, and he was looking for a bed for the night. Just a bed for the night, somewhere warm till the morning light, and he was looking for a bed for the night. And standing in the doorway was a man called Father John. He said, "Come in from the cold and sit you down there, my good man." And the small talk was of football, and the tea tasted so right when he was looking for a bed for the night. Just a bed for the night, somewhere warm till the morning light, and he was looking for a bed for the night. There was something in this situation made me realize that there is always someone with a kindness in their eyes. So if Father John should hear me, and who knows, he just might hear me say, "Thank you for the bed for the night." Just a bed for the night, somewhere warm till the morning light, and he was looking for a bed for the night. Just a bed for the night, somewhere warm till the morning light, and he was looking for a bed for the night. Yeah, the name of that man was Willie Girk, and he came from a place called Oldcastle in County Meath. And the late Brendan Farley, who was a native, who spent a lot of time around this town, was a great pal of his. So it was a coincidence that we all happened to be in Manchester at the same time. Well, it's been really great fun being with you at this particular concert. Don't forget, we've got 5 more concerts coming up as well. If you want to find out any more about me, I have a website, www.charliemcgettigan.ie, and I also have a Facebook page. And of course, if you just look up Leitrim County Library, you'll be able to find out more about what's happening over there and about the Keep Well campaign that they're running. It's mainly to keep people who are maybe isolated, give them something that they can watch for free on their televisions or whatever people watch things on these. They were going to go out with a song. I sang this recently at a television show for the great George Hamilton IV, and I was asked to sing one of his particular songs, and I couldn't believe it when he actually had a song that I sang. Lovely, lovely man he was too. This is one that we sang with our musical society in way back in Ballyshannon when I was growing up, and it's one called "You Are My Sunshine." You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamt that you were by my side. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken, so I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I'll always love you and think kind of you, and I hope that you will do the same. But should you leave me for another, you may hang your head in shame. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Oh, please don't take my sunshine away. See you next time. Yeah, we should get some of that fake applause. You know, they have it now. They have it now actually on what was I looking at today? The snooker. They swear to have. Yeah, there's a big shot. You go and you hear, and they have woo.